Mendel's law from grade 10. Firstly, who is Mendel? Gregor Mendel, being his full name, was a scientist who studied pea plants to understand how traits are passed from parents to offsprings. Have you ever wondered how you, your mom, or your dad have the same hair color or the same height? Well, that is because of something from gene, and that is called as traits. Gregor Mendel over here, he used a pea plant and studied all those traits and composed them as his laws, and we call it Mendel's laws. The first law that he found out was the law of dominance. So from the word dominance, that means something is dominant. So what did he find out? He found out that when two traits are combined together, one trait will always dominate and the other will always be hidden or become recessive. So anything that shows up is called as a dominant trait, and anything that is hidden is called as a recessive trait. So what did he mean by this? So Mendel, what he did was he assigned capital T for very tall plants and small t for very short plants, and mind you, pea plants. So capital T for tall plants and capital small t for small plants. Now, if there were two t's, then this will be a very tall tree. If there were small t's, then it will be a very small tree. What will happen if one t, a very capital T, and a small t are together? Then what will be the dominance, or how will the height of the pea plant be? The height will be in a way in which the dominant one or the dominant trait will take over the smaller one. That is, T is the dominant one. So the plant will be tall. It won't be medium, it will be tall, because as T is the dominant one, it will take over the recessive one and become tall. That is what law of dominance is. The law number 2, or his second law, is law of segregation. Segregation, separation. So that means traits are controlled by two factors, genes. So what are genes? Genes separate these gamete formation, or genes separate during gamete formation. Just like before, a plant has TT traits. That is, it is tall. It produces either the T gamete or the small t gamete, and never both. So either T capital T or small t. That is, if this is one of the parent, then this will only give one gene, that is one gene, either T or small t, to the offspring, and the other parent will give one of its genes. This is how an offspring is made, and a parent can't give two of the genes together to the offspring. And that is Mendel's law of segregation. And the third law that Mendel brought was the law of independent assortment. Again, from the name, independent assortment, that means something is independently moved or brought to some other place. So this law tells that different traits are inherited independently. That means if TT or T is the trait or the letter for height, and if Y or small y is for the color, that is the color of the seed, then T cannot tell what the color of the seed is. So if a plant or a pea pod has TT, you cannot find out the color of the seed with this trait. You can only find the color with this. That means traits mix like random combination. That is, inheritance of height does not affect the inheritance of the seed color. Now, how do both the parents mix up their genes? Let's take an example. If one parent has double T's like this, and another parent has a big T and a small t like this, how do they give the genes? So this parent can give both T and capital T. Well, this parent can give capital T and small t. So like I said before, this is because of the law of segregation. This segregates or separates. Now what happens is, this T comes here and this T joins together, forming a tall offspring or a tall child. Now, this T and this T combines together to give a tall child again. Now, this T and this small t combines to give again a tall child. And again, once again, this t and this t combines to give a tall child. That tells us if this combination of a parent goes on, then all the offsprings in this generation will be tall. This is how you mix the genes of the parents and get tall children. Let's take another example. Capital T, small t, small t, small t. If this is the parent, then this parent gives the genes capital T and small t, as well as this gives small t and small t. Why is this? Because of the law of segregation. Now these genes mix together. So this capital T comes over here and this small t from the other parent. Now this small t and this small t, this capital T and this small t, and now this small t and this small t. So here when you look, this is a tall offspring, this is a short offspring, this is again a tall offspring, and this is a short offspring. So the guarantee of getting a tall or a short offspring is 50%. Because 2 are tall and 2 are short. So this is how you mix the genes, and if this is all about Mendel's laws. If this video helped you to understand Mendel's law perfectly, please like and subscribe to the channel and follow for more.